Our Coaches Corner segment continues this morning with head football coach and athletic director at BB Comer, Coach Mike Battles, and home opener for the Tigers last Friday night. And, Coach, that thing got away from us in a hurry.
Pretty much after the first series. They came out on defense, tried to intimidate us and did. And then offensively, they came right out and got matched up out there on that island and threw a long one and got in the end zone. I think they had 14 points before we got a breath. And so it got away in a hurry. But they got a good football team. You know, our kids played hard. We're just not our freshmen got a real on-the-job training Friday night from some experienced football players. Bigger, faster, stronger, the whole 9 years. 9 yards. We were out-coached, out-played, out-hit.
It was, of course, opening night for BB Comer on the remodeled field at Legion Stadium, and Weaver, the opponent, and Coach Mike Gibbs, who did the color with me, made the comment. He said this is one of the better teams of Weaver he's seen in a while, and BB Comer just had trouble kind of keeping on track with them. Very fast football team.
Well, I talked to Coach Hammond. They're not only fast, their offensive and defensive line, they got to play a lot of people one way, and their offensive and defensive linemen were just
it's a big
so much bigger, just so much bigger than our kids. And our freshmen went out there. We had 3 ninth graders on that left side over there, and I'm sure after that first play, their eyes were wide open. But you know, thing about it is, they fought that whole ball game. You know what else? They was at practice every day this week. That was sweet. So you know and we're going down to another tough opponent. We're going into a hard place to play, and so we'll just find out what we got. Right now, you know, we got 9 ball games to play. There's nothing been decided. That right there is just another ball game. We play Pike County Friday night, and it does count. It's an area ball game, and it starts area. You start with a good football team like them, and they've been in the state playoffs and have won numerous state championships in the last 15 years. So it's going to be a tough place for us to win, but you know, we expect to go down and do well.
Yeah, it's got to be difficult for a defensive back to cover one-on-one, especially in high school football, and that's what you guys play at BB Comer. We
play a lot of man, and we do play some zone, but we play a lot of man out there because we're so small up front. We have to put the pressure on. So we're our 150-pound tackles. We're going against their 270-pound. Defense, you know, our offensive linemen, we just didn't match up well with them. And plus, they got a good football team. Let's just face it, they're better than us. If we'd have went out there and played above our heads, we might have made a ball game of it, but we didn't. They finally called the dogs off after that first series in the second half, and we got a little. You know, had a little movement, but not much. We didn't move the ball well against our second team. We had to wait really till they really called the dogs off and putting kids out there that probably didn't think they were going to get to play.
Talk about your quarterback a little bit. He does a lot of things for you. A great athlete, and we saw him do some good things the other night, and had some challenges as well.
Well, Allen's a good football player for us. He's just he never got his feet set. We didn't get an opportunity to get back there and get set and throw the football. They were back there just about the time the ball was. But Allen made some big plays for us, some good reads, and he'll do better as the season progresses. I don't think everybody we play will be the caliber football team that Weaver is. Now, there are a lot of good football teams on our schedule, make no mistake. But I don't think they'll be from end to end, front to back, as tough as Weaver was with the number of athletes they had.
I didn't ask you this pre-live show, but I'll ask you this morning. If it wasn't anything, fine. But at the end of the half, both teams are going out the same direction, and you and the head coach at Weaver were discussing. Is that talking about the second half, or how you want to look at the second half, or is that just, hey?
No, he and I just passed each other there, and just we've known each other for a while, and so just comments. I don't even remember what was said. We just came together and went on through. Yeah. You know, because we do have to go right there to that field house, and you have to be real careful out there in the front now. It's dug up pretty good. So, you know, we just all, we went in and got.
What'd you teach at halftime? I know you're constantly teaching and
well, I'm going to tell you something. Actually, they lined up exactly where they were supposed to on defense. Our kids were not fooled. We went out. Our kids knew who to block. We just didn't block them. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the whole thing. We didn't have to make a lot of adjustments. We made and defensively, you got to tackle them. If you can't catch them, we can't tackle them. So we came up. I thought our kids went. They knew what to do. We just weren't up to the task.
Well, you did have a touchdown in the second half.
Well, it's probably against that third team, against.
Still, it's a touchdown.
Well, it's a touchdown. That's true. But, we that touchdown didn't mean any more to us than anything else. The thing that meant so much to all our kids, we went out there, we didn't play well in the first half or the second half, and we know we got to get better. But the great thing about it, we still got 9 ball games. We're going to be right back at work today. We're going to be at work tomorrow, and we're going to be back at work Monday just as soon as we get through. So, again, we were outmatched, and they did their job. We didn't do ours, and I don't mean that we didn't go out there and play. We just couldn't get our job done. Was the thing. We were overmatched, and then our. This time though, we've got we play Pike County down there, and we're focusing on that because it's a big ball game. It's an area ball game against a good football team. A lot of times, whoever gets to jump out of the box can stay in front of the pack. Certainly,
one thing that I did take note of, even though the game was out of hand, the Tigers never quit. They played hard throughout the game.
I think we went out there. We knew what to do. We know how to do it. We just we didn't have the personnel all the way across the board, and but our young kids, even those 9th graders when they were down there, they fought the whole game, and I'm proud of them. Our seniors got out there. Some of them got out there and gave us. We had some that really played. They played wire to wire. We had some that did not play wire to wire. So what we've got to do is fix those kind of problems right there, and then we'll be in good shape. I'm not, I don't think this thing right here will change anything that we have to do for the rest of the season. We're just not going to go undefeated.
I noticed you on the sideline. I noticed you during the game. You're constantly exhorting, teaching, and pointing out what the players do. You don't get to talk to them a lot because they're always out on the field.
They're always on the field. If you want to coach, come to BB Comer. Because you're going to get a whole lot of it all the time there. Our coaches, all of them, are constantly coaching out there because we have a kid come out of the ball game. We got to make a change right then. But now I'm telling you, we don't have second teamers. We have next man up. You go in at this position, we'll move another guy to another position right there. And our coaches have done a good job at it. We're a little bit better at it today than we were yesterday. And so we're going to put the 11 out there that we think can get the job done, the 11 that's the most healthy, put them out there and let them play, and try to give them the best opportunity they can to win.
Coach Mike Battles, the head football coach and athletic director at BB Comer. You traveled to Pike County Friday night, and they're a new team on the schedule. What goes into scheduling? There's not a natural rivalry between BB Comer and Pike County for sure.
Well, it's an area game. We don't have any choice. They're putting our area. We drew out of a hat to see and we drew Pike County this ball game. We didn't schedule
What a draw.
Yeah, and so we go to Pike County. We've got a bunch of tough area games and regular season games. Our schedule is based on us and Sylacauga playing at home and away every time. So that right there has to fit into it. We can't just play 2 home ball games in a row with that kind of stuff. And so we've got several long region ball games that are on the road, and we're just getting a bus, go play, come back home. That's what you do. We don't have a lot of say-so over that. Nobody else in the state does. Most teams will open their region schedules tonight, Friday night, and and so we're doing what our schedule calls for. It doesn't matter to us when we play them. We've got to play them.
You mentioned back at work this week in the football team after a defeat Friday night against Weaver. Do you see any differences in them after a week like that? I know we're only in week 2.
Our 9th graders are not going to be scared to death. The first ball game when we went down to play Altaugaville, we went down there hoping to because we don't get a lot of 11-on-11 scrimmages at practice. So we went down to Altaugaville thinking we'd get 48 minutes of them getting it. But we got 5 plays on defense and 12 on offense, and so that wasn't a whole lot. Then we come out against Weaver, and then we got all we could stand. Now our kids, these 9th graders, are no longer not babies anymore. They got taught a real good lesson last Friday night, and now, you know, they know that they're going to get hit. They're not going to die out there. Mm-hmm. They can go out there and play. They'll be able to play against anybody. We're not going to face anybody the rest of this year that will have the overall talent from end to end that Weaver has. Mm-hmm. We just don't have anybody on our schedule that can match up with that. And so we're looking forward to it, even though it was embarrassing. And I know our kids are, down a little bit because we did get it handed to us. But we don't play Weaver every week. We play teams that more in our caliber that we can play with, and so we're looking forward to it.
You've looked at tape of Pike County. What stands out to you about them?
They've got good athletes. Now, they don't have a lot of football players. They're a lot like us, and they've had a tough schedule. Their first 2 ball games they lost to Charles Henderson, which is a 5A, in Troy, and they lost to Elba, which is 2A state champions from last year. Both of them still got good football teams, so we know that we got work cut out for us. They got good athletes. They got speed. We're going to try not to let them match up. We're going to try to keep them in front of us. But we have to move the chains. We have to move the chains. That's all there is to it. We can't stop play defense all night long. We didn't have any offense Friday night. We couldn't run to our left. And then once they found that out, then we couldn't run to our right either.
Well, Weaver put 10, 11 players within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Once they got up there and smelled blood, they came. I mean, once the feeding frenzy started, they were ready to go. They were ready to go, and they knew that we couldn't get out of it. So we got some, we just never had time. We never got time to set our feet. Our quarterback didn't. We were blocking, but not long enough. And so we work on that right there. And then, again, like I said, we won't have, hopefully, we haven't looked down. We won't have a front 5 like those 5 right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a pretty good front 5, and we knew it going in, and they came to play, and they wanted to get their job done and did.
With the limited number of players that B.B. Comer has, I think I counted 25 that dressed Friday night, and most of those players, the starters, are playing both ways on special teams or whatever, and that's more prone to an injury. Where are we as far as injuries?
Injuries, we're okay. Being in shape, we didn't have problems with cramps or people laying out on the field or anything like that. Our kids they've worked and they're used to it. The heat. So, we get out there now. Of course, now we'll probably go down to Pike County and fall out all over the place. But in the past, and then we let them. We do it like everybody else. We get them. We put fluids to them on starting Thursday and Friday and get them ready to go. And just like every other team, we just have like I said, our kids have to play even our 9th graders. They have to play multiple positions. We have armbands on, and some of them it'll be a right guard, right tackle, and then left guard.
That's amazing.
Well, but they can read, so they look down, they read, they get out there and go after it, and we work with them. I think yesterday our entire offensive practice was spent with the whole second team, just doing their things, because we knew the first team already knew. So we did the second team. Now we'll put the first bunch back in there and integrate it a little bit while we're practicing. So you just have to, it's when you've got a small number of people, you have to make practices different from people who platoon or have large numbers. We can't do the same things. Mm-hmm. And so we don't get the one-on-one kind of stuff where we get out there and we can have our defensive backs looking at our defensive backs have to see the whole formation. And so, I think our kids they've adjusted well. We weren't out of place.
Yeah.
We were outmanned.
Yeah. With a long trip to Pike County, I guess there's some tweaking of the travel schedule since it'll take a while to get there.
It'll take us about 3 hours on the school bus, so we'll leave. We'll try to leave before school's out, so we'll try to miss that traffic in Montgomery and get on down. It's not a bad trip. I mean, it's not like we're going to Mobile or anything, but we'll get on down there, and then coming back is the hardest part. It's just if we go down there and win, we could probably walk back. If we lose, then it's going to be a long bus ride.
Well, it's some of these, especially these younger kids, it'll be the first trip that they made like that, so it's indoctrination for them too.
Well, it's, with the number we have coming back on that bus after a loss, they'll be asleep. I mean, really, when you go out there and play 48 minutes and you have to play every play, every kick, every part of the kicking game, now, win, lose, or draw, there's not a whole lot left.
With the limitations as far as numbers are concerned in the game against Pike County Friday night, what are some things that you consistently have to do to put yourself in a position? I know the blocking and tackling, but are there other little things that you have to look at?
Oh, yeah, we have to use the clock. You know, we tell the officials for the ball game exactly when we want our timeouts. We already know. We don't have to wait on situations. Our kids have to know that we have some stuff that we do by committee where you got to go in there. He's got 4 plays, and then you got 4 plays. You're going, like I said, when you dress out with us, you better have your helmet on and your chin strap buckle, because the next heartbeat you can be in there. I mean, you're 1 play away from being a starter.
And there are times where you have to call a timeout. May not go where you're playing, but you have to call one.
Well, but there again, of course, we're only 1 game into the season. We're still going to plan them that way right there. We try not to have any mistakes. Make sure we got 11 people on the field on the kicking game. That's when it really comes right there. So we try to make sure that we've got our kicking teams, those kind of things right there, so that we don't have to call a timeout to insert a person, because we can always take the penalty. And so if we have to do that, then we'll do it.
All right. Coach Mike Battles, the head football coach and athletic director at B.B. Comer. The Tigers travel to Pike County for a Friday night encounter before they're back here at the stadium next week. Coach, I appreciate you being with us this morning, and good luck to the Tigers this week. And know you want to encourage folks that are Tiger supporters to travel with you.
You better get out. You better bring 2 sandwiches. It might be a long trip.
We'll be back with more on Daybreak. We've got more coming up on the other side of the timeout. We've got state news and national news and sports. The Braves win again last night, and they're not in last place any longer. So there's hope for the Bravos. So we've got that coming up. Also looks at Alabama and Auburn camps as we get ready for the start of college football. College football does start tonight. A couple of SEC teams playing, or at least 3. And we'll talk about that too as Daybreak continues right after this timeout.